We keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I am here with Devin Tingle and Paul Chivari, and the good times keep a rolling. You know, even though we had snow here in Chicago, spring is here, which means baseball is deep in our hearts like it's been for the last few weeks. And Devin, we continue on the fun times of local baseball. What do we have coming up?
Well, Mercado, we've been dealing with this a lot because as a White Sox fan, it's always disappointing during baseball season. As a Cub fan, it's going to be disappointing for you come August. But we got to keep our hopes up high here. October. Yeah, let's stay on topic here, but we got to keep our hopes up. And we are joined by Jamie Toole, the Chief Storyteller of the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Guys, I appreciate your time and love your enthusiasm up there.
So, Jamie, I have to ask, what is a Chief Storyteller of a baseball team?
Man, I don't know. If I find out, I'm going to let you know. It sounds like a fun title to have. So, in actuality, when we started the company in 2020, I was doing a lot of research, and a guy that had some success named Steve Jobs said, if you're going to start something and build a business, you better be this chief storyteller. And as soon as I read it, I thought, that's so cool. You know, in the baseball business, in minor leagues, they call it general manager or stuff like that. It's kind of boring. So we knew we wanted to have some fun, creative titles. Like my wife works here. She's director of swag and events for the merchandise and stuff. So just fun titles. And honestly, you got to go tell that story over and over, what you're trying to do and be involved in your community. But that's kind of where it came from.
Have you been with the team since the rebranding from Sliders to Horseshoes? And if you were, could you kind of tell us a little bit about the mindset of that rebrand and why you landed on Lucky Horseshoes?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, we were. So we acquired this property in the fall of 2021, and had done a lot of research on the sliders, and they had been around since 2008. There just were some challenges. It didn't feel like they were super connected to the community. It didn't feel like there was a real reason why. You know, I would ask people all the time, why are they named sliders? And for us, it just felt like the right time for a fresh start. So we went out and to be candid with you, we did a name the team contest. And I know a lot of teams around the country do name the team contest, and it's really not that, right? They already know we're going to be the Blue Stars because that's my favorite thing, blah, blah, blah. But we truly listened. We listened to the community, and I think we had a couple thousand submissions. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Springfield, but the horseshoe is a big deal here. And being a South Carolina kid and being from Florida recently, I didn't know what the heck a horseshoe was. I just assumed it was horseshoes, right? But this open face sandwich is a big deal, and the lucky part is a nod to Abe Lincoln. Although I'm not overly certain how lucky Abe was, but certainly the penny, the lucky penny, and that's where the brand came from. And a guy out of Tampa, Florida, named Ryan Foose, who's the best in the business at building brands and really taking an idea to a logo or a brand or a family. So Lucky Horseshoes came to life February 17th, 2022, and within 40 something days we sold merchandise in all 50 states, and we're off and rolling, and really proud of the brand through our first 3 seasons.
You know, it's interesting about Springfield, right? Like us up here in Chicago, we know the historical meaning when it comes to this city, its architecture, what it means to agriculture in this country. And we tend to forget how old Springfield is too, you know, the southern part of the state, the central part of the state. And, you know, you guys play in a historic stadium within its own right. So how has that been, the knowing that you're going into a town that has really embraced you, has a lot of history when it comes to the state itself, but also history when it comes to sports, when you're talking about the Robin Roberts Stadium, like a historic stadium in its own right? How is that for the team to be playing in an environment like that?
Yeah, it's really cool. So the stadium itself has been many different incarnations, from the aluminum bleachers when the Redbirds came in the 70s to the old wood grandstands. But what's cool is this is our centennial season of baseball on these grounds. So May 12th, 1925, the Springfield Senators hosted the Terre Haute Tots for the first game here. There were 12,000 fans. Kennesaw Mountain Landis, baseball's first commissioner, throughout the first pitch. So celebrating those things are really cool. In fact, I just got the jersey designs. We're doing a throwback game wearing the old Senators jerseys, and Terre Haute, we're going to play them. They're wearing the old Tots jerseys. But I think it's super important for us to sort of celebrate the tradition of baseball, particularly in these minor league properties, right? I know the White Sox and Bears, there's all this public talk about public money. I personally think that the days of public money into sports facilities are likely behind us. You know, there may be some exceptions, but for us, we just knew we wanted to celebrate the history and tradition of all the folks that have played at this facility and worked here, i.e. Satchel Paige, Mike Schmitz, some of these great Cardinals, Ray Langford and Tommy Herr and Leon Bull Durham. So when you look through the history, that to me is what makes our game so fun, and the celebration of summer nights at the ballpark. And sometimes new is better and sometimes new is not better. And for me, for us, we're trying to modernize our facility somewhat, but also celebrate the deep history of 100 years of baseball right here on this in this area.
So we know the sanctity of sports, how much we romanticize baseball, how it's important to have a great product on the field when it actually comes to play. But you brought up something that kind of piqued my interest when it comes to not just understanding the neighborhood, the historical value you have, but understanding that it is a business, being able to show that you can offer great entertainment while having a great product. And then you bring up public money that we're seeing for the White Sox, we're seeing for the Bears, like you mentioned. Going into a ownership for, let's say, independent baseball, prospect baseball, minor league baseball, what, at least for me, and I think we've noticed it here now that we're paying a little bit more attention, that it is a venture a lot of people are getting into. It is something that they enjoy the hometown roots of it, the economic opportunities for it, building a community around it. What are the benefits? What are the driving points of really bringing a lot of new ownership into some of these baseball teams that were really the livelihood for a lot of these little towns and neighborhoods?
Yeah, I think it's appealing. Like I've worked for three major league teams, most recently the Cardinals and Marlins down in Jupiter, Florida. And, during the pandemic, it just seemed like a calling to do something more meaningful. I have kids in the Chicagoland area from my first marriage, so getting back to this area was something I wanted to try to do, at least be here more. So I think the minor league properties are a lot more appealing for different reasons, right? So in affiliated baseball, those are the teams, with major league affiliations. You've seen a group called Diamond Baseball Holdings really go after these properties. I think there are over 30 that they've acquired. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes. Then you mentioned independent ball, and Chicago is really, has so many independent teams in that region. But to me, summer college baseball is sort of what minor league baseball used to be. And when you sort of put together all these seismic shifts in sports, right, you look at name and likeness and the players being able to monetize themselves and their own brand. MLB reducing the draft back in 2020, I think down to 20 rounds, cutting minor league affiliations by 30. The rumor is or 40, they're likely going to cut that again. So I think these teams like Springfield Lucky Horseshoes, and we just added a second team in Quincy, these are important for communities. And I say winning is great, right? We've been in the playoffs 2 or 3 years, and we certainly want to win. If we're playing the game, we want to win. But our mission statement is baseball is our platform, but not our purpose. Our purpose is to bring people together, have a good time, summer nights, cold beverages, warm hot dogs, summer fun, fireworks, right? We live in a world where everything tells us why I shouldn't like you. We're divided. We don't agree on this, agree on this. And we want to present an opportunity just to come together. We don't ask who you voted for, what your position is. We want you to create memories and smiles and have a good night at the ballpark. Hopefully the kid has cotton candy rolling down their face. And it's just, to me, it's a quality of life thing for communities to have this that brings them together. And it's really cool. I love it. When I worked with MLB, it was a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of things like per caps. How much money did they spend on beer? How much do they spend on this merchandise? And we do some of this because it's a business. But at the end of the day, I think what you need to focus on is being an asset to your community, entertaining folks, bringing them together. What can we do next that makes people say, wow, this is fun? We had Mini Kiss play here last year, which was just awesome. They were awesome. We had 500 people packing the party deck over here. Just, oh, this is so good. I can't believe this is in Springfield. So constantly entertaining and a quality of life issue. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
So Jamie, again, up in north here, we have a bunch of teams. And down there in the central Illinois area, you also have the Illinois Valley Pistol Shrimp. You have Quincy has a new team now. What do the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes do to kind of separate from those and give back and, make themselves a staple in the central Illinois community and Springfield itself?
Yeah, so we actually own and operate the new Quincy team as well. That's our same ownership group, so we're very, very excited about that. Quincy Doggy Paddlers, by the way, one of the cool brands. If you haven't checked it out, paddlersbaseball.com. But we just try to be true to connecting to the community. What I mean by that is we're about to unveil our 4th local custom craft beer. We have one with all the local craft breweries now. There's 4 in Springfield. So Lucky Lager from Buzz Bomb, and Shoe Brew from Anvil and Forge, and Shoes on First from Springfield Beer Company, and Ingrained is another brewery here in Springfield. We're unveiling that in May. So we try to sell from the local, Taraski meats. We use local products. We try to be hyper local. And that I think is important, because when folks come to the ballpark and they drink, oh, a Springfield Beer Company, I know them, or this is local, and it means more, right? When it's your community coming together to celebrate not only just the team, again, the platform, but what are you doing promotional wise? What are you doing for food and beverage wise? What are you doing to really truly connect to your community? I think a lot of teams try to do that, but we've really tried to focus on showcasing our community and celebrating that history and tradition at our ballpark. And, I think that separates us, as we truly try to stay connected 365. A lot of teams sort of hibernate. They pop up in the summer. Hey, we got 30, 40, 50 games, and then, we'll see you, right? And we try to be connected year round and do fundraisers. And I'm so proud, in 3 seasons, we've raised over 115K for local nonprofits, which is huge for a team like our size. So I think those are the ingredients to really connect to the community and be a quality of life value.
And Jamie, you said you guys also own the team in Quincy. What made you want to go for a second team in the same state?
I think stupidity. I'm teasing, of course. I'm teasing you guys. I know you have a good time. So, to be honest with you, we have been looking for a while our vision was to acquire several of these, right? They're smaller properties. So it's not like an independent ball where you have the players sell. Those are a lot bigger budgets, a lot bigger, numbers involved. Same with affiliated baseball, obviously. And so we like the summer college model, because it gives us a chance to, get players on the rise. By the way, Sam Antonacci, drafted by the Chicago White Sox. He was a shoe, first Lucky Horseshoe to get drafted. So this year we have Sam Antonacci bobblehead. So for the White Sox fans, there's hope on the way. That young man's a heck of a ball player. But the Quincy opportunity was twofold. Number one, it came about, and it was proximity. It's an hour and a half from where we are in Springfield. And then number two, it just had great history and tradition from the Gems seasons and all the way back. And they had a community that really supported baseball. And quite frankly, we're disappointed to see it leave. So they did not have baseball last year, and they've really rolled out the red carpet for us. And we just introduced the doggy paddlers over there on, I think it was 18 days ago, and we've sold merchandise in 21 states. Our goal is 50 states in 50 days to really get the brand all over the country. So that's kind of what went into it. And for us, we've learned so much from operating Springfield from 3 years that we can, sort of apply that over to Quincy, maybe not make some of the same mistakes.
This summer, you guys have the opportunity to host the All-Star game and everything that surrounds those festivities. It's kind of a double question here, because this is a real opportunity for you guys to highlight that while these guys aren't household names and are still playing at the amateur level, there's a chance to see a future big leaguer whenever these guys play, whether it's an All-Star game or not. And you mentioned, Sam being drafted by the White Sox, and I know previous to the rebrand, Nick Maton also played in the Springfield organization. Do you guys, how are you guys embracing the opportunity to host the All-Star game and the festivities surrounding that? And I guess the second one is, do you guys kind of keep up with some of the alumni that you've had pass through Springfield?
Yeah, we do. So I'll answer the second part first. Yes, we do. We try to stay in touch with that. And we sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. But certainly the Maton family was big here in our community. The Detmers family was big in Chatham area. Springfield's very rich, Central Illinois, very rich in baseball history and MLB players, Jason Worth. And this season in particular, we're sort of celebrating all that history. There's so much great talent. Another kid, Noah Schultz, you mentioned the pistol shrimp. He pitched against us, and that was not a fun day for us. So we're excited to see where he goes with the White Sox. And to your first question, I think the All-Star game to your point, is a great way to showcase how cool your community is. Springfield's a capital city, but it's unique, right? Because the city is a little bit in the shadow of being the capital. And if you ever spent much time down here, there's so many great things to do, from the craft breweries to all the Lincoln historical sites to great food and, salt of the earth people, Midwest, is at its finest. So anytime we can bring people to Springfield, which will probably bring 500 to 700 people with families and the players and all the other teams, to showcase how cool this community is. That's fun. Certainly to host the All-Star game in our centennial season is very, very fun, and to showcase the history and tradition. We haven't had an All-Star game this league since 2019, pre-COVID. So when it was coming back, we were the first ones to put our name in the hat. We would like to host it, and we're really blessed to get it for this year. And working behind the scenes to really put on a great show for the players. We'll have an alumni game on Monday, July 7th. Former CICL and Prospect League players against a U.S. military all-star team, followed by a home run derby. Who doesn't want to see a home run derby? I'm really excited about that. That'll be Monday the 7th. And then on the 8th, we'll have a nice luncheon at the hotel here in Springfield, followed by the All-Star game. So really 2 days of events on a Monday and a Tuesday that'll probably have a nice economic impact for our community on days that maybe weren't so popular to come to Springfield on. And like you said, showcase how cool this place is, and hopefully people will want to come back and realize Springfield's a really cool place to be.
And Jamie, before we let you go, I also saw that you can feed our players something a little bit more for the team itself to support the team. So I also would imagine being able to promote your brand. We know that the state of Illinois, up here in Chicago, there's a lot of great food, family-owned places that can really make sure that some ball players, those boys that we love watching on the diamond, get nice and fueled up. What are you guys doing there? What are you guys offering? Why is it great to partner and work with what you guys are doing down there in Springfield with the the horseshoes?
Yeah, so I apologize about the train, but you're getting a little bit of the Springfield tradition, right? You be sitting in a game, a train comes by, a plane rolls over, but obviously you guys we all remember COVID, and it was very tough on restaurant chains, restaurants locally owned. Sometimes, they don't have the money in their budget to really promote and advertise, and we have so many great restaurants. So we actually borrowed, as we do in minor league baseball and summer college baseball, the idea of a trade to just feed the players post game. We have 70 players between the home and visiting guys, and they're college age players with that metabolism that still works, so they eat a lot. So the idea of getting local restaurants to feed the team a lot better than just giving them cold hot dogs or pizza every night, and it really, we have probably 8 or 10 groups that participate in that, and they really love it. They love the idea of the kids getting to eat there, and then the kids will go to their restaurant on off days or time to eat, and it's just a great way to connect with the team. And for us, we try to create as many opportunities, whether it be baseball camps. We're doing a women's baseball camp this year, softball camp, any opportunities we can create to connect with our community. That's a positive thing.
Boys, got any more for our friend here? I guess, Jamie, there's one more thing, right? We got the fun out of the way, and we'd get in trouble if here in Chicago we didn't bring it up. So I think it's interesting, some of the giveaways you guys have done. Paulie, was this part of the old brand?
Sliders?
This
Yeah.
was part of the sliders. There was the giveaway, right?
Oh, yeah.
What just for it's a sensitive subject, whatnot, but can you explain a little bit about what goes behind that particular giveaway and giveaways like that are not just styrofoam cups and a hat, when it is something a little bit more, for some people risque or controversial, if you will?
Yeah, well, I think it's just, that was previous ownership group, and that would not be something that we would do. It just, in my mind, when you're quality of life and you're trying to be an asset to the community, I'm all for having some fun ideas. And, we're going to play topless this year for cancer, which is, our kids just won't wear their hats in the first inning, right? But I think you guys know this, in minor league baseball in particular, there's always pushing that envelope, trying to be sort of walking that fine line between humorous, getting people to engage, buy tickets, monetize ideas. And then there's some that cross the line. And in my opinion, that was a little tough. I think they had good attendance, but long term, I don't know that it's worth it, that one shot wonder. You get a lot of attention, and people say, attention is good. Sometimes it may not be as great for the long term, but teams like us, we're always trying to come up with a fun promotion or the next thing, or how are we going to be, engaging and social. We live in that chatter of constant social. In the old days, you put out a press release on the website and all right, see you down the line. And nowadays it's just a constant communication. And with that, you have to take the good with the bad. So Yeah, I think, those types of promotions are good for some communities, not so good. Maybe you did that down south. Maybe it's a little more appealing. But you guys, this because you're on air. So there's certain things that are funny and your listeners enjoy. And there's probably been times where you guys have said, oh, and then you get a little bit of feedback, not so much. So I think at
We
the
have
end
a
of the
second
day,
show called the Farting Hour, and they did not like that
Yeah,
hour.
yeah.
well, there you go. Like, and you guys, there's probably a fan base for that who loves that, right? Like that's what line between being fun and engaging, but also maybe not going too far.
What's this water pistol story that you have for us?
Well, the concept is, when the Sliders actually did the gun giveaway, which I think you were referencing before, and we like to be funny too. We just didn't want to go that far. So we tried to break the Guinness Book of World Records for water pistol fight. So we gave away 750 and had a water pistol shootout on the field after the game, which was really, really fun. Didn't quite get the attendance that they got, but we feel good about that promotion. So we tried to lean in a little bit without maybe going too far.
That's beautiful. That's the type of
thank
pistol
you.
giveaway we like to talk about.
But
here.
did you guys break the Guinness World Record?
We did not. We did not.
Here, you know what?
It's
Though,
another opportunity.
Yeah, one more opportunity for some more water pistols.
I love it.
Thank you, Jimmy. We appreciate you answering that question. I know it wasn't. We wanted to make sure we had some fun before we got into the serious stuff here on the Sports Cubicle. You want to bring us home, Dev?
I'll let you go. I got two questions. One, what kind of giveaways can we expect at the ballpark this year? And if anyone wants to buy tickets, learn more about the team, where can they go?
Yeah, so tons of bobbleheads this year. We have four. Sam Antonacci is one. A guy by the name of Abe Lincoln. Pretty excited about that one. High school legendary coach Ken Leonard here with Sacred Heart Griffin, who's we're doing his bobblehead, and then our mascot Horace T. Shoe. Schedule posters, a lot of the same type of stuff. Activity books for kids. I think we have probably 8 to 10 giveaways. And for all the latest information is shoesbaseball.com, and our social handle is just at shoesbaseball on all social outlets.
Jamie Toole, the Chief Storyteller of the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes. Thank you so much, Jamie, for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.